I'm chilling. Colton went upstairs, although he's very entertained. And I don't, as usual, I have no idea where Fletcher is. There have been nights where I was like, okay, dinner's ready, but I'm not even sure if Fletcher's here. And then I like call him.
All right, I think we're live. Somebody tell me whether I think we're cooking with grits here. This is Landis Wade with Charlotte's Podcast, and I've got the Writing Group Inc. with me, and we are having a big time tonight on Facebook Live. Yeah. So, hey, Charlotte's Podcast, where authors give voice to the written words. I'm going to introduce our guest here in just a minute. But we got Bess, Kimmery, Tracy, and Trish, and we're going to give you their last names in a moment, but we're going to keep you in suspense about that for just a minute. But a couple of things about the podcast here. We are 2 years in, 170 episodes, 190 authors. We're now on the Authors on the Air Global Radio Network, publishing to a worldwide audience. We primarily do local and regional authors, but we're doing, with the magic of remote podcasting, we're doing national and international authors too. So a lot of fun. And the best part is it's free. You can listen for free. So check us out, follow us on social media, do all that kind of stuff. But now, first of all, ladies, elves, welcome.
Thank you,
Thank
Landis.
you.
Did somebody check to see if we are in fact streaming live? Are we? Okay. Camry checked, and we're now streaming live. That's good.
Excellent.
Good to know. All right. Everybody's in their holiday festive gear. I love the hats. Everybody's got bows, hats, whatever. I've got my Believe shirt on, so we're believing here. We are going to introduce in just a moment, but first, we're going to kick this thing off quickly. We got the jingle bells too.
Sorry,
Let's do a toast to Christmas in 2020, and let's then put 2020 in the rearview mirror and stomp on the gas and get to 2021. Cheers, everybody.
See you 2020.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
we're all like, gulp, 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 gulp.
Okay, so before introductions, we're going to lead off. Most shows they'll start and just get right to the action. We're getting right to the action, kind of like the inciting incident in a good novel. We don't want to keep them in suspense. We don't get them to jump right in. So we're going to I'm going to separate them into teams. And everybody was fighting to get Tracy as their partner when I told them it was going to be movie trivia. Oh, you would? Okay.
Trish is pretty confident. I might switch to her.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I can see how this group gets along. They don't get anything done. They fight for position.
You got it.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. So I'm looking at my screen and I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to take Bess and Trish, you're on a team, and Kimmery and Tracy, you're on a team. And the rules are very simple. And that is, I'm going to give you, starting out, we're doing movies first, Christmas movies. I'm going to give you a line from a Christmas movie, and the team that tells us the movie first is going to win that round. And then if you don't get it on the first line, I'll give you another line from the movie and another line from the movie, and we'll be good. All right, so here's the first movie. Here we go. What can I say, Audrey? It's Christmas, and we're all miserable. Go ahead, Trish. You don't have to.
I beat you, Tracy.
The teacher raised her hand.
Hey, okay. First of all, there's no raising hands on Charlotte.
I was doing the buzzer too.
I want you to just shout it out. Okay.
Shout it out, girl.
Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation it is. And the other lines I had was, it's not going in the yard, Russ. It's going in our living room. And of course, third, the Jelly of the Month Club, the gift that keeps on giving. All right, here we go. Very good. Very good. All right, here's the next one. In spite of my outwardly appearance, I shall try to keep a neat and tidy inn. That's a hard one from this one. So I'm going to give you another one. I never did think it was such a bad little tree.
Charlie Brown Christmas.
Charlie Brown Christmas. There you go. There we go. All right. So far, Trish and Bess have won 2 fruitcakes.
And Bess. It's my good luck Christmas tree head.
I got that one.
Oh, you did?
That one.
Well, you got to shout louder. I couldn't hear you.
You got to yell more than Trish.
You're not. You got to be louder than me.
Uh-oh.
Good luck.
We're winning this sucker.
Okay, well, it is a tie then. The judges have ruled it's a tie. Tracy, speak up next time. I'll hear you better.
I yelled it. That's what it was like.
All right, here we go. This is the next movie. That's One Humble Bumble.
Oh.
Try another one. Eat, Papa, eat. This. By the way, we're going to thank Jan.
The Year Without a Santa Claus.
Nope, not quite, but close. By the way, Janet, my elf who I live with, who keeps me straight, she came up with these, so blame her, not me. I want to be a dentist.
Oh, Rudolph.
Rudolph. There we go. All right. Okay. It only took 3. The last one was gonna be fill in the blank on Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer, on Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner, and Blitzen, and Rudolph. Okay.
Rudolph.
All right, here we go. This one shouldn't be too hard. Why Santa Claus? Why?
Ooh, Grinch.
Grinch.
Yes.
There you go. And he himself carved the roast beef, and in Whoville, they say the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. All right, there we go. All right, one more here. A couple more. All right, so let's just say we're doing it for an old pal in the Army.
5.
What?
Wonderful Life.
Nope, close. Sisters. That was a song in the movie. Snow. I'll give you another hint. Bing Crosby and Danny.
It's a Wonderful Life.
How about White Christmas? There we go.
Okay.
Landis, you're showing your age. We only know Charlie Brown.
Okay. All right. Well, you might know this one. Here we go. It's okay, Neil. You were just denying your inner child. All right. Went up on the roof. There arose such a clatter, the Clatter Ladder Company. And then I want to go into the family business. Tim was
Is this one of your books?
This the Santa Claus?
Santa Claus. There you go.
Yay,
Tim Allen, the Santa Claus. All right. Now, if you don't get this one, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hold up a prop for this one. I've got several, but here's the prop, and you tell me what the movie is.
Oh,
Story.
yes.
A Christmas Story. And what was this when it was in the box?
Fragile.
For extra credit. Exactly right.
Oh my gosh.
Really
Take
bad.
that.
Also, there was a Triple Dog Dare You in that, and a genuine Red Ryder 200-shot carbine action air rifle with a compass in the stock. There you go.
Yes.
All right, here we go. That's right. Attaboy, Clarence. The Old Bailey.
It's a
boarding
Wonderful
house.
Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. There you go. Look, Daddy, teacher says every time the bell rings, a teacher gets their wings. Yeah.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
Especially
teacher.
in 2020, teachers are all.
This
All
is
right, here we go.
this is why Trish didn't want to be my partner. She knew she was going to get them all right.
The last movie. Here we go. And surely you're going to get this. Can you imagine Mr. Macy had seen that, or Mr. Gimble? And I'll give you another one. I must be a pretty good lawyer. I took a little old man and legally proved to the whole world that he's Santa Claus.
Elf is the only Christmas movie I've seen, so can we have one?
Miracle,
Year Without a
believe-
Santa Claus.
no, Miracle on
Miracle on 34th Street. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Quickly, a couple of books, and then we'll move on here. This is too easy. Bah Humbug.
A Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol. God bless
I was
everybody.
trying to let Tracy do one.
Oh,
Oh, you were. That was so nice of you.
sorry.
All right, here we go. Only 2 books here. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work. And okay, I'll give you another hint. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow. Come on.
Twas the Night Before
Twas the
Christmas.
Night. There you go.
Oh, that thing we're reading.
The thing we're reading. Yeah. By the
That we have
way,
in front of us.
The microphone
Yeah.
working.
the
Why
thing
not
I,
left,
the
right?
thing I sent y'all to prepare for in advance, right? Yeah.
Oh.
Last one. I don't know if I would have gotten this one. He marched over to us and pointing to me said, "Let's have this fella here." He jumped into his sleigh. The conductor handed me up.
Orient Express.
Polar Express. Polar Express.
Express.
Yeah, it's an
You just
Agatha
have-
Christie Christmas story.
And then there were
It's a
9.
murder mystery at Christmas.
It's the murder on the
It's a
Polar
murder-
Express.
it's a Murder on the
Yeah, there were 11
Tom
elves.
Hanks gets killed.
Only
Do we
10
win?
Which of the 11 elves killed Rudolph? That's it. Okay. Here's a couple of just trivia songs. Whose version of this Christmas song made the Billboard charts in 1947, 49, 50, and 54? Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Who sang that?
Bing Crosby.
Nat King Cole, but that's close. That's
Oh,
close.
Kimmery. We were on the same wavelength.
All right.
I was
Where-
like 1947. How am I going to get this?
You're right.
I'm so
It's
young.
a classic.
Where did good King Wenceslas live and reign? All right, nobody's gonna know this.
Awesome.
Bohemia. It's now Czechoslovakia.
Oh.
Who first bought the rights to Rudolph? It is a department store. I'll tell you that.
Macy's.
No.
Macy's.
It's Montgomery Ward's department store. And let's see, we're about out of time for this.
Yeah.
I tell you what, how many names for Santa Claus can you think of?
Like just shout them out.
You want a number
Shout
or
'em
you
out.
want to
Just shout them out.
Saint Nick.
15?
Kris Kringle, Saint Nick.
Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Claus.
Jolly
There you
old
go.
Saint Nicholas.
Jolly,
Oh.
yeah.
Father Christmas, Papa
Fa-
Noel.
Yeah.
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 Okay, good. How
The
many
guy with the long beard.
Yeah. How many reindeer did Santa have?
8.
Plus?
9. 9.
Yeah. Okay. There
Well,
was
it's
8.
8 if you don't count Rudolph.
Right. And so 9 if you count Rudolph.
Count
But y'all are
Rudolph.
leaving one out. Olive.
Oh, all of the other reindeer.
There you go. You got it. There you go.
Oh.
Where where did the
Okay,
co-
wait.
I don't know, Olive.
You
I don't
don't?
know, Olive.
Never heard that before.
You never heard
Well,
that before?
Yes, it is actually.
Other
even-
reindeer.
it's
Yeah.
a book. It's a children's book
Yeah.
called Olive the Other Reindeer because Olive thought the song was about her.
Exactly. Exactly.
I've never heard that.
Me neither.
I'm doing really bad.
All right. Last question. Are there plums in plum pudding?
Oh.
That, if I'm asking
Yes.
you that question, the answer is probably no, right? It's
Right.
no. It's currants and raisins. Okay. Hey, yep. Trivia round. I'm not sure who won. I couldn't keep track. I'm going to call it a tie. We'll call it a tie.
It was
Yeah.
my for sure.
It was definitely a tie.
So for those of you watching, first of all, thanks for joining us. This is something we put together kind of at the last minute. I'll have to give Tracy credit for the idea of doing something Christmassy. We're going to start and go around here, and I'm going to kind of introduce, and we're going to talk a second. Tracy Curtis, raise your hand, Tracy. Raise your hand. There you go, with the bow on the head. Tracy and I first met up at Main Street Books about 2015 or 16, I think. We were both hawking our Christmas books and happened to be beside each other. Tracy is an award-winning author, speaker, and former syndicated humor columnist for the McClatchy Company nationwide. Wrote over 500 columns. She was one of the early authors on the podcast. She's one of those test authors that I called and said, "Hey, I'm trying this thing. Would you just come on over and do this thing?" And you did. Give us your tagline, Tracy, and tell us about your books.
Well, like Landis said, I am the former humor columnist for the Charlotte Observer before it lost an awful lot of weight and its writers along with it. But in the meantime, my friend Bess Kercher suggested that I compile my holiday columns into a Christmas book. So I published Holidays, Wrapping Your Brain Around Christmas, followed by Trophy Mom, which was my Mother's Day book, and Beach Bummed, which was my summer reading book. All of these are about the imperfection of motherhood. And
Hold on, Tracy.
write-
Hold the books up a second.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Because you and I had a conversation on the podcast about your legs that appear on the cover of these books, right?
Well, I have amazing legs, and I just wanted to show them off. So
Right.
here are my
Yeah.
legs in my favorite Christmas skirt.
Right.
Here are my legs in my favorite itty bitty teeny weeny jean
Daisy
shorts.
Dukes.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
here are my amazing legs in my favorite skirt and high heels.
And it's
Um,
amazing. You can get those on stockphoto.org or something that for the
Shutterstock,
Shutterstock.
$25.
Okay.
Yes.
I won't tell that. I won't share that.
No.
Okay.
In my free time, I did write a novel that didn't get sold. We can talk about publishing and agenting at another time. And I'm currently working on a top secret TV series show Bible for 2 shows that I want to pitch to streaming services, but shh,
Okay.
they're a
all right,
secret.
okay. I love it. It's top secret.
I stopped.
Yeah, we at Charlotte's podcast, we break stories. I mean, we break stories in the literary community, and we just broke one right here. So that's great. So,
Yep.
All right. I'm going around in terms of how I met everybody. I think next is Kimmery. Kimmery, I had you on the podcast, I guess, about a year ago or so. And no, but this year's crazy. It's gone so fast. But Kimmery, I am a recovering trial lawyer. Kimmery is a recovering emergency room doctor, I think, and kind of parlayed that into some writing and some great novels. I had her on the podcast to talk about her book, The Antidote for Everything, but she also wrote one before that that's set in Charlotte called The Queen of Hearts. Kimmery, tell us a little bit about yourself and your books.
Well, I am an emergency medicine doctor turned novelist, which is not two careers that a whole lot of people combine. But I write medical fiction for Penguin Random House, and I'm on my third novel now. So my first one that Landis just mentioned is The Queen of Hearts, which is set in Charlotte, and it's about the friendship between a cardiologist, hence the title and the cover, and a trauma surgeon, and this big secret between them. And then my book that was out right as COVID hit is called The Antidote for Everything. And we did have a really good time on your podcast talking about that one. And then my third novel is coming out in 2021, which is going to be so much of a better year, but in a highly ironic twist, I started writing that book in late 2018, and it's about a brand new worldwide viral pandemic.
Okay, I knew it was somebody's fault. I just did not know whose it was. It's not the Chinese, it's not the Russians. It's Kimmery Martin
Kimmery.
and her
Kimmery.
muse. Who
It gets even weirder. Actually, I realized in my book there are two separate strains of the new virus, one of which is like billions of times more contagious than the other. And in the book, a salty teenager disregards parental advice about wearing masks and gives the family the disease. And I'm not going to say who that happened to, but I am. It was me.
Stop writing.
The book.
Stop writing, Kimmery.
Oh
Okay,
my
yeah.
gosh, Kimmery, the
I
power
think there was
of
some
your
kind
words.
of some kind of Rod Serling thing somewhere where somebody wrote stuff and then it came true or
Yeah.
No
whatever.
one's
So,
going to want to read this, so I'm gonna hand it off to you next.
It's a great,
Okay.
it's a great book.
I saw. So let's work our way around. Bess Kercher. Bess and I were just together recording in November or December. I don't know, early December. I recorded so many episodes. She's coming out on the podcast in the first quarter of 2021 with her book Now and at the Hour. Middle-aged book, great book about a young kid who skateboards and has to struggle with a mother who's dying of cancer and kind of a pilgrimage there. We had a good time talking about that. She says on this writing page site that y'all have together, Writing Group Inc., that I see stories all around me every day. Kimmery, Bess, tell me about yourself and what you're writing.
So I am a writer and a blogger, and as you mentioned, this year, a novelist. My debut novel, Now and at the Hour, a upper middle grade story, came out in October and does feature Albert Davidson, a 12-year-old protagonist, and follows him through a year in his life that's significant because his mom is diagnosed with cancer during that time. And that is a very serious subject, and there's a lot of serious subject matter in the book, but as you've also alluded to, there are I'd like to say there are sharks and there are skateboards
Yeah.
and there's Pope Francis and there's Twitter fame. So it's a little mix of everything. Let's see.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
that's the book. So
that's great. Yeah, we talked about that bridge below the Golden Gate on your cover that's not really there below the Golden Gate, but that's okay. That's creative
it's
license
off to
there.
the side. It's
It's
off to the side.
side.
There are lots of places where you can view the Golden Gate from the shore. So
That's
we
awesome.
just we have made that one there.
All right, great. And Trish, you and I are meeting right now. I mean, we're just getting to know
Nice
each
to
other.
meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Landis, that would be because I don't have any books that I've
Uh,
published. That would be
well,
why.
I don't discriminate. By the way, you've written so much, you just need to staple them together and you can have about 10 books. I mean, you got
Yeah, that's what
I
everyone
mean,
says.
educator, writer, yogi. You've written for all different publications. You've been a TED Talk person. You talk a little bit about what you write, Trish, what you like to write, and I'm going to then let you kind of tell us how the four of you got connected. So after you tell us a little about yourself, tell us that story. Okay.
Okay, sure. So yeah, I guess I'm a recovering educator who got sucked back into education. I left for a while, and that was when my writing was a bit more proficient. And now I'm doing remote learning and coordinating that for a school here at Charlotte. So that's been no big deal. That's been a pretty boring job this semester. Hasn't taken up any time whatsoever. And yeah, what I've written is usually creative nonfiction. I've often said I tend to see things that happen in the world through the eyes of kids, or how they impact kids, or how it might impact parents. And so, as you can imagine, 20 years in a classroom with parents and kids, I've got a lot of fodder. Nora Ephron said everything is copy, and so I've got a lot of copy. So we just have to figure out how to staple those pages together.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I've got a stapler. I'll loan you.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I don't have any office supplies as a teacher. So.
Tracy was joking before we got on about my prowess with websites. So since I know so much about how to put those together, I'll help
Yeah.
you. I'll staple your pages together for you. But jumping into the question, I'll let y'all all jump in because I met y'all all in different ways, and you all bring something different to the table. But you kind of created this mashup thing here, this cocktail of writers who want to be together, and it kind of first of all, tell us a story, Trish, about how y'all got connected, and then we'll just talk a few minutes about the value of being with other writers for your writing, and then we're going to jump into some more reindeer games. So.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, we wrote, I think, Kimmery, you wrote our fairy tale, right, on our webpage. I should have pulled that up because didn't you write the fairy tale?
No, I thought you wrote it.
Did I write it? I totally wrote it. Okay.
I wrote it.
As
Was it good? I think I wrote it.
As your copyright lawyer, we got to sort this out. Okay.
Listen, what I do best is just create Facebook pages and websites for us. We've had a whole bunch. No, so we, Kimmery is probably the most prolific writer that I can even imagine. She is just constantly writing, even when we're having lunch or we're going for a walk around the neighborhood. Kimmery's writing. And she, on the first draft of her Queen of Hearts, reached out to me and asked me to be a beta reader for that. So she and I had gotten connected that way. And then Bess and Tracy were operating together as friends and writers in a different little sphere over here. And as we all sort of, our gravity kind of pulled us together, I mean, one day somebody was just like, hey, why don't we just all get together and write? And we're like, okay. I mean, it wasn't, I don't know that it was all that coordinated or planned. It was the stars aligned in just the right way. But apparently I wrote it really well. So if I could write, let me just read my own words.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Once upon a time, there were 4 kick-ass women writers. These women loved writing very much, and they were all really good at it too. But alas,
this is Christmas. It's not Grimm's fairy tales, right? Yeah.
play along.
All right, we'll play along.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Christmas miracle. Alas, writing can be a bit lonely, even for kick-ass women writers. So one writer, Kimmery, wrote a novel, a kick-ass novel, and she asked another kick-ass writer to read it. At the same time, in another part of the Queen City, another one of the kick-ass writers befriended another one of the kick-ass writers, despite one of them unwittingly taking on the role of the head of the moms at the preschool. Even though the other one wanted that role very much, they decided they would be friends. That's the love story of Bess and Tracy. Many, many years later, the kick-ass writer who wrote the novel asked the head of all the moms at the preschool, aka kick-ass writer, to read her novel too. You following? At the same time, the wannabe head of the moms at the preschool invited the kick-ass writer who read the kick-ass novel for the other kick-ass writer to lunch so they could snoop on the interwebs together. I forgot about our snooping, Tracy. As luck would have it, the 4 kick-ass women writers got all crossed up and mixed up and ended up at lunch having really healthy food and deciding to spend more time together. And so they did. And they still do. And now they are 4 kick-ass women writers who do everything they did before, but they are not lonely anymore. And they write happily ever after together.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was so sweet. I'll tell you what, a bunch of kick-ass writers. That's awesome.
I haven't heard that either.
Yeah.
That all of the other reindeer in that story, I have not heard that before.
Well,
Good.
Tracy, when I met
Where
you,
am I?
you told we first met, you were talking about going to New York or somewhere to do a conference with this group, and I was like, well, what is that? What do y'all do? I mean, and so you kind of explained that. So y'all have done different things. You went and spoke, I think, at a conference somewhere. I'm sure there was no wine involved in that trip and no dinners out or anything. It was all business, all getting ready. But you were actually scrambling last minute to work on your outline or something for that presentation, as I recall. Right?
Well, we're very serious people, Landis, and we take writing very seriously.
Very seriously.
As we
very
do our writing group.
seriously.
I don't even know. Trish would have to write that story too of how that came to be, but we attended the Writers Digest conference as a group for years, and we find that there's real value in finding your people in your town, and basically our group was born out of holding each other accountable. We were all trying to accomplish things. When we got together, I think Kimmery was the only one that was really writing anything, and the rest of us were just sort of like tagging along. And all these years later, there's a lot of books out there and a lot of writing and blogging and speaking that we've done collaboratively that's been like amazing even to us. But we went to the Writers Digest conference and did a presentation on the value of writing groups and just sort of told our story and told like how you can find support just by joining up with even just 3 other people can inspire you. And I mean, and I am like really like, I mean, that is the truth. I mean, this book and these other books never would have happened if Bess hadn't said, hey, why don't you do this thing? And it just turned into something else. And sometimes you just need other people that see you in a way that you don't see yourself. And I think that's what we do for each other. We hold a mirror up and say, this is what we see when we look at you.
Yeah, that's great. I have learned, I've joked a little bit on the Patreon channel we have and on the podcast about how I went and looked at whether I'd get an MFA, and I looked at the price tag and I said, nah, I'm just going to go interview authors who know what they're doing. And so I've been getting a free education, interviewing all these authors about what they do, but it's kind of the same thing. You're connecting with people. And I've learned a lot of things by talking to authors like yourselves and picking up different tips on whether it be craft or the business side of writing. And so now I'm flipping it to Kimmery, who seems to be the kick-ass writer responsible for starting this chain of kick-ass writer things. So Kimmery, when you sent it out to your beta readers, were you working with a critique group? And if not, how has working with the critique group, helped as you've moved forward in your own writing?
I went into writing having never written anything and knowing nothing about writing or publishing. And I wrote a whole book that way, which turned out to be an absolute giant disaster, as you might expect. So that's the approach that you would take if you want to do a really lot of revising.
Yeah.
So when I got together with these guys, that was my first real experience with critique partners. And they pick up all kinds of things you would never realize on your own. They find plot holes. They point out inconsistencies. They tell you when something sounds dumb or arrogant or is wrong, or you left something out or whatever it is. And also they're just inspiring, having that kind of really deep connection with other writers makes you a better writer almost automatically. So it was a learning process for all of us to figure out how to get our books published and how to get them written in the first place. And I know that I would not have done mine without them.
That's great. All right, going back to now, Bess, you and I recently talked about this because on the Patreon episode we did, this is going to come out in the first quarter. And by the way, for y'all don't know, anybody watching doesn't know what that foreign word means. It sounds like something I made up, like Pig Latin or something. But Patreon is just a place where creators go and they put up content, and the people that get access to it help support that creator. So what we're doing with Charlotte Reader's podcast is, if you want to help me help authors, give voice to the written words, you can go to Patreon, sign up $5 a month, and you get access to all this content. It's patreon.com/Charlotte Reader's podcast, or check out our website. And I did one of these with Bess for 2021 about, I think it has something to do with balm or something, Beth, the balm that you put on you to soothe. And you talked about your writing group. And I asked you a question, and I said, because I put you on the spot, and I'm going to put you on the spot again here. And I said, okay, you got 4 different women writers. Everybody's moving along at different paces, but everybody's supporting each other. But sometimes somebody's going to have a breakout thing. And sometimes somebody else is going to be going, well, wait a minute. They did this, I'm here, whatever. Okay. What is it about working with a group like this that lets you tamp down the jealousy that we all feel, right? When somebody else has got this great success, and yet you're proud of the work of other people that are part of your group. Talk about that.
Right. Well, I think I had like a 3-prong answer to that,
Yeah,
as
you
I'm
did.
wont to do.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can remember it all. So the first thing I think I shared with you was that I had a friend not in the writing group who actually said to me,
Yeah, I remember.
in a
That's
very,
why I'm asking you the question. I remember that.
we were talking about the writing group, and we were talking about the writing. We are talking about how things were going. This was some number of years ago, and talking about the books that were coming out, and talking about someone's launch and someone's viral blog, and she, in all kindness and earnestly, said to me, is it hard? Is it ever like hard to be in that group? You know, because they're all so successful. And I was like, well, well, no. I mean, I was like, I got my master's at Queens. I really think I think I respond that way. I'm not defensive at all.
Yeah.
And so, but so I, you know, there is that piece where I do think things sort of ebb and flow, and it's not likely that you'll all be kind of doing something really exciting at the exact time. But 2 things, and one Tracy alluded to, that I think are really important. As Tracy said, you know, having that mirror held up where other people see things that you don't. And even when it may not be that you're having a launch party, but maybe you just wrote something that's truly beautiful, or maybe you had some other success that was witnessed by members of the group, and they remind you. I think, you know, Tracy and I've talked about, and we've all talked about, it's so interesting how you can do something that's really wonderful, and then 5 minutes later, you forget. It's like it never happened. It's like, what's next? You know, and we're constantly saying, oh gosh, you're the one that's done this, and you're the one that's done that. And then, you know, part of what the writing group does is that affirmation back, like, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Aren't you the one that, you know, had a blog that went viral? And aren't you the one that, you know, just is teaching all these people across the country how to write? And so I think that is really a useful, as we talked about, social construction of reality, a little reminder. And then the other thing is that because we are able as a group to support each other, I mean, like support in kind of the brain trust, and support in proofing, and support in actually hauling books and centerpieces to events. When one of us is successful, I think we all feel such kind of pride, and just, you really are kind of a piece of that success does belong to you, and it's something that is just universally celebrated. And so I think that that is another thing that the writing group allows a space for, where, you know, it may not be that have a book launch, but I'm front and center at a book launch, and I am, you know, helping to make that happen. And it's just, I have found that the writing community generally is a lot like that too. And people are genuinely happy for each other's successes and want to be involved.
That's a great answer. And I hope she's watching now, the person who gave you that comment. Because
I love you, and it was okay. It was okay. It really was okay. It was good. It was fun.
Yeah, it's really great when writers can come together and support each other. And that really, that's what the writing community is. From what I found, interviewing all these authors, everybody's, you know, you need an endorsement? Sure. You know, just don't ask me one day before it's due, you know, but you need one? Sure. You need me to come support you? Great. I mean, that's kind of, and we in North Carolina, the writingest state. I can't spell it, but that's where we are. We got more writers per capita than lawyers, I think, I hope, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got that going for us. All right, here's what we're going to do. But before we do, I'm going to just do a quick plug for the Christmas Courtroom trilogy. Yep, it's all over me. It's all behind me here. We got the Christmas Redemption. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Christmas
Cheers.
Christ, the Legally Binding Christmas, which I had to put a little sexual tension in because my mother-in-law said there wasn't enough romance in the first book. I took care of that in the second book and got back to the good action in the third book. So this is the Christmas Redemption.
And these books, they need to be like Christmas specials. They need to be on television. Landis and I we're gonna team up, and
we need to write those screenplays.
Some TV shows together.
We need to do that. All right, enough of the shameless Santa plugs. Let's move on here. We are going to do, for the second half of the show here, we got a lot of fun things. We're going to do some readings, some Christmas readings. We got a few more reindeer games, and we're going to finish up with 'Twas the Night Before Christmas with a reading from all of us because that's been a tradition in my family. Not like we're going to do it tonight. This will be a brand new thing for us tonight. But we're going to start off with readings from Tracy and Trish. Tracy's got a reading from Holidays she's going to do. She's already talked to you about the book. It's a great book. These are fun little essays you can pick up that Tracy wrote there in the 450, 500 word categories, I remember. So really, she's tight with words. We talked about this on the podcast, economy of words, and she does it. So give us your title, Tracy, and how about reading us a Christmas story?
Well, and just for all you writers out there, I wrote tight at the Charlotte Observer so that they couldn't edit anything out. It's called being a control freak. So this is from Holidays, wrapping your brain around Christmas. And this column was called Carol Needs Song Lessons. And this is one of Trish Rohr's favorites, by the way, because she loves my melodious voice.
I promise I'm not going to heckle you. Not.
Now, and I told Tracy before she came on, she would read this one out loud once, because when she came on the podcast to record, and she, we do this thing where you read a piece of your work, and she hadn't picked up the book in like a year and read it. So I think I edited that episode probably more times than any other episode, because she'd go, wait a minute, I'm gonna start again. Wait a minute, I'm gonna start again. Wait a minute, start again.
So, here. Are y'all hearing? I don't hear anything. Hello?
Yeah.
Well, I know she practiced yesterday.
All right, so
beautiful. It was beautiful.
Let's hear it.
Carol needs song lessons. A dramatic reading from Holidays. How is it possible that with Christmas music starting in October of every year, I still don't know the words to the songs? I pretty much sing everything like this. Joy to the world, ba-da-dee-dum. Let earth, da-da-dee-da. Let every heart, blah, 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 blah.
Where are your backup singers? They weren't even humming.
Thank you.
Should we do another take?
We'll hum on the next one.
Hum on the next song. Give her some support here.
And my favorite, hark the herald angels sing, ba ba ba, the newborn king, peace on earth, ba da dee da, da da dee da. I've got a real problem now because I have a son who's playing Joseph in the nativity pageant. And because I'm his mother, he only knows the first quarter of each of the 5 songs he has to sing. But these songs are so confusing. I mean, Christmas speak is totally different than normal speak. You becomes ye, and everything starts with O. O Tannenbaum, O Holy Night, O Little Town of Bethlehem, O Christmas Tree. And if that's not enough O's for you, try O come, Emmanuel. We're killed. Why is everything ye yonder yawn? Your troll dawn. Who talks like that? We hail and hark and come a wassailing and a caroling, and lords are a leaping, and maids are a milking, and swans are a swimming, and geese are a laying. Bells jingle, jingle bells rock, but bells on bobtails ring. Nights are silent, halls are decked, and there's a lot of glistening from both snow and treetops. Yuletide is gay, and so is apparel. Heaven and nature sing, and for some reason, pudding is figgy. And there are too many choices. You can have a white Christmas or a blue Christmas. It can be merry and little or holly and jolly. And you can be home for Christmas or up on the housetop or over the river and through the woods. I guess as long as you're rocking around the Christmas tree, it really doesn't matter. Half the time, I don't even know who we're talking about. Do they know it's Christmas? Well, who are they? Do you hear what I hear? Are you talking to me? Sometimes I get caught up trying to read between the lines between Grandma got run over by a reindeer the same night I saw Mommy kissing Santa Claus. Coincidence? Sounds like Santa Claus has issues with his mother-in-law. And there are not 12 days of Christmas. If Christmas starts in October, then there's like 112 days of Christmas. Is it any wonder I can't remember the name to all the words to all these crazy songs? But there's hope. I got my toddler into music together holiday class. He can sing Jingle Bells, Silver Bells, and he can hum the overture to the Nutcracker. Gotta start him young. And I'm learning the songs too. They haven't explained exactly what a soapin' sleigh is yet, but hopefully we'll get to that soon.
Awesome. Very good. And I love
Thank you.
kind of words. Tracy's taught classes on how to do this, and I remember from one that I took from her, and it's just a great tip. You know, make a lot of lists. I mean, that was one of her suggestions. Make a lot of lists, look at them, compare them, and you find funny things that kind of match up. And that it sounds like she made a lot of lists of all the Christmas songs, started picking out interesting phrases from those, and suddenly she had, you know, this wonderful essay. Great job, Tracy. Good job.
Well, those were just all in my head, but thank you.
I forgot you're a child prodigy. Yeah. There you
Yeah.
go. All right, so we got one more reading before we do a few reindeer games. This is Trish, and we're going to put this here because she's kind of reframing "Twas the Night Before Christmas," and she's doing it in the context of the people that she writes with. So, Trish, take it away.
Hold on, ladies. Yeah, this was "Twas the Night Before the Podcast." 'Twas the night before the podcast when all through NC, all writers were relaxed, except for Tracy and me. Their books were all laid on the table with care in hopes that Landis would ask, "What is that there?" And Bess with some booze and Kay with some too had just settled down for a much-deserved snooze. When up on the Zoom there arose such a clatter, Bess sprung from her chair to see what was the matter. Away to the computer, she flew like a flash, opened the browser, and let out a gasp. The selfie light on the breasts of her two tipsy friends gave Bess the feeling this night may not end.
I got to go back and put a stamp on this, rated PG-17 or something, you know?
Just when it gets to Trish's square. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
right,
yeah, that's fine. That's a black mark against me. I'll take
Okay.
it.
No, no.
But you should have seen the rough draft of this. That is all that's left.
Okay.
We're good to go.
That gives new light to the breast of the new fallen snow for me. Man.
Yes.
Thank you. There it is. Thank you. But when Kay's sharp eyes also picked up the sight, she threw her pen in the air and yelled, "Let's start this night." The other two writers, so lively and quick, they knew in a moment this was no trick. More sassy than sweet, one held up her glass. The other, named Hollywood, was looking upper class. They were whistling and shouting and calling out names. "Kimmery, Bess, you are on top of your game. Go Andrew, you rock star. Go Kent and Jim too. We are all so lucky to have doctors like you. Dear Brian, we love you. You keep us all happy. And the kids are all healthy. Let's not get too sappy." As too much drink is likely to do, the girls collapsed in laughter and said, "Oh, how I miss you." So up to the computers, Kay and Bess pulled their chairs to giggle and snort and watch the scene there. Uh-oh, I'm missing a line.
And then in a twinkling, they heard out front. Is that what it is?
Thank you. And then to my printer, oh my God,
Okay,
that was the best line.
I'll do this line. And then in a
Go
twinkling,
ahead, Landis, and then I'll bring it home.
and then in a twinkling, they heard out front the thumping of disco funk. Okay.
You got it. With brains erasing and eyes all alight, Sassy and Hollywood shouted, "This is the best night." They were dressed in sequins from head to toe with swiveling hips they had clearly let go. A bundle of books they swung on the lawn, and they looked just like kids ready to boogie until dawn. With cheeks all rosy and grins really big, they jumped up and down while dancing a jig. Beth and Kay danced along, safely distanced, of course. The girls were together. It was a tour de force. Sassy winked her eye and Hollywood shook her head. 2021 was nearby. There's nothing to dread. They turned up the tunes and got down to work. I even think Beth started to twerk. The stars began to fade and Sassy grew tired. The four BFFs bid goodnight, happy to know Trump had been fired. Away the two flew as quick as they'd come, leaving sequins behind and a promise for more fun. Kay and Bess heard them exclaim as they drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to us and cheers to many more great nights."
There you go.
Yay.
Good work.
Aw.
And Bess, Trish did that on short notice. I got it about 4 o'clock today. So good work. Yeah, good work. See, that's the writing at the last minute.
I
Yeah.
need the pressure to write. That's
When
right.
inspiration strikes, just
That's
gotta.
right. Watch out.
She needs that deadline. All right, we got some more things coming. We're going to call our urgency of the holiday readings that we're going to have from Bess and Kimmery here in just a moment. Before we do that, I just want to run around the table here and see. All right, I want to talk about Christmas traditions. All right, so I'm just going to start. I'll pick Bess this time. All right, Bess, talk to us about a Christmas tradition in your family. It could be when you were a child or one that you have with your family.
Well, it's kind of sad this year because typically I host Christmas for a big, big crew. And so we're having to do it all a little bit differently this year. But one thing that I think is really fabulous, I might be sort of merging onto another one of your topics.
That's fine.
But so historically what we do is everyone comes here and we have dinner, a big dinner Christmas Eve that my mother-in-law prepares, which is lasagna, and it's fabulous. And then we have brunch Christmas morning that my mom prepares. And then we have a big meal at the end of the day and all this fabulous dessert that my stepmother prepares. And we're not going to be able to do really any version of that. But all those women have made sure that we are getting our lasagna and our Moravian sugar cake and breakfast treats. And we have received a delivery of just these amazing, beautiful homemade cookies, Christmas cookies. And so typically we're all together eating a lot. But everyone was able to sort of spread the love still. And I'm in awe of all these women who are still making it happen in 2020.
That's a great story. Kimmery, how about a Christmas tradition?
So I'm looking at the wrong set of questions. I didn't have a prepared answer for this.
You don't have to have a prepared answer. Should I skip to someone else and give you time to come back?
We do have a Christmas tradition. For the last 17 years on Christmas Eve, our precious jolly neighbor has come as Santa Claus. I hope my children aren't watching this right now because one of them would be very startled to know it was our neighbor. And we have our
that's a Santa for any children that are watching. There are Santa's helpers out there that help Santa from the North Pole. And so if you think you see somebody that looks like a real person, real people like me have to help Santa carry out his job. So just to explain that, I just want to set that stage there. So
yeah, all you children on Facebook. So about I don't know, between 5 and 10 families with kids come. And so it's this melee of noise and drunk adults. And last year, a bunch of people got into a political argument and children all get to open a gift. And then we sing Christmas songs like Tracy, where we, sing some words, but not all words. And then that's how it winds down. And then Jem and I start getting the presents ready for the morning. So that's our tradition. We've always done it. And of course, we're not doing it this year. So we might have to do some kind of lame Zoom.
All right. Well, Zoom's okay. We're Zooming now.
It's all right.
All right. We're working our way around. Tracy, Christmas tradition.
Well, I have 2 husbands and one's Jewish. So I spend Christmas with the other husband.
Wait a minute. You spend Christmas with the Jewish husband or the...
My second husband is Jewish, so I spend Christmas with my first husband,
Okay.
and which kind of works because he's the father of my children. So we go to church, and then we go have a nice meal somewhere, and then we drive down Hillside, which is a street near our home, and all the neighbors collectively do this amazing decorating job. And at the end, they serve everyone hot chocolate and they take up donations for local food bank. So we do that. And then we go back to the ex-husband's house and we watch Elf and everybody falls asleep. And then I leave and go back to the second.
I knew Tracy was always ambitious overachiever. She's trying to cover all the holidays. Christmas, Hanukkah, everything.
Well, I mean, we start with Hanukkah and we burn enough candles to burn the whole damn house down. And then once that's done, we start on Christmas.
Yeah. Well, my daughter, so we grew up, we're celebrating Christmas, but she converted Judaism, married a Jewish woman. So now they've got all the holidays covered. They're even putting up a Christmas tree now. Her Jewish wife loves the holidays. So
Good.
yeah,
Yay.
yeah. Okay, Trish, tradition.
Yeah, I think it's like all of us, just that time with family. And then I think it even comes more into light this year when you can't see, the cousins together playing, and dressing up for funny Christmas pictures. But so I think everything just feels a little nostalgic and notable this year. But I loved our elves. And I have 2 older kids who are both in college. And boy, I wish we still had our elves visiting us, because that just, what? Go to come to your house. I would. It was like, I was channeling like my inner teacher, like the creativity, like we had naughty elves. I don't know if anybody else ever had a naughty elf.
Longing for a naughty elf. She's longing for an elf that's even alive.
No, we had a really naughty elf who was a very picky eater, only wanted certain kind of cookies. And when he didn't get them, he wreaked havoc on the house. And it was wonderful. I miss the elves a lot.
Yeah, that's great. So I'll just share. So for the first time, we have adult children, and because of COVID and they're living farther away, they're not going to be able to travel to be with us. So this will be the first Christmas where Janet and I are not without our children. And so I recently wrote a piece called "A Christmas Dream Come True." I was thinking about this, and it got picked up by a podcast. And I was thinking about that song, Tracy. Was it even in your, litany there? I think it was Bing Crosby's song, and it was, the one that ends, I'll be home for Christmas, but if only in my dreams. And so I was thinking about that. That was actually a song written during World War II time, where Bing Crosby made it popular in 1943, and it was about a soldier who was overseas. They said it was almost too sad to even produce, because it was about a soldier longing to be home, put the presents on the tree, I'll be there, promise, and so forth. Well, our kids called us in November and said, we're not going to kill y'all for Christmas. That's going to be our Christmas gift to you. We're not going to come bring COVID into your house. And I was really sad about it. I started thinking about it, and I was like, okay, when is it really going to hit me? When is the first tear going to drop? Is it going to be, the night before Christmas when they read the birth story and "Twas the Night Before Christmas," a tradition? Is it going to be the next morning when I go downstairs to turn on the lights to make everything ready? Is it going to be that photo op we do at the top of the stairs, which they still tolerate, even though they're adults, where I take that picture? Or is it when we have overnight French toast in the morning, as a family, or open presents, or, we go to the afternoon movie and we argue about which movie to see, and we have our steak dinner and we reflect. And, I was thinking, I don't know when it'll be, but I know this. I know that I'm proud of my kids for being the adults in the room, for thinking, about us and thinking about the science and doing those things. And I know that Christmas is going to come back every year. And it's one of those holidays where you can see the light at the end of the darkest tunnels. And so I made a promise to him. I said, sort of with a catch in my throat, I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. And so that's our tradition. That's what we do. And this year we're not going to have it. So we're going to Zoom. We're going to Zoom.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun.
Everybody's Zooming.
And we're going to do it. All right. That's great.
Can I just say, I just feel like, it's also kind of like that burner Christmas where everyone who didn't want to do Christmas and was like, I can't believe we have to do this again. I don't want to have these people at my house, and I've got to do all this stuff. It's like, you have the perfect excuse now. It's like, it's your year off.
Hey, decorations went up on Halloween this year, for Christmas.
You can't do anything. And for us, and I'm with you, it's so hard. And especially when you have elderly parents, we all do. But you're right. We're going to have Christmas again, and it'll all be back. So in some ways it's like, take the time, sit back, think about what it really meant to you. And for a lot of people, I think, we've forgotten how special it is, and, how important it is and what it means to us. And now we have that year off where maybe we took that for granted, and we'll be excited for when it comes back around again.
Well said. Well said. Okay, so we're going to do some lightning round questions here. We're going to go Bess, Kimmery, Tracy, Trish. See if you can do this.
Whoa.
Wait, what was that sequence? again?
Bess, Kimmery, Tracy, Trish. I'm just saying the way that it works on my screen.
On your
here.
screen.
It's not on. That's not on my.
Yeah,
Not
it's
on your
like-
screen.
Mine.
Okay.
Okay, Bess, Kimmery, Tracy, Trish. The question is, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
My favorite Christmas movie is actually a Christmas special, My So-Called Life, So-Called Angels.
Okay, Kimmery.
Love Actually. I will fight the people that hate it. I weep at the airport scene every year.
Tracy.
Santa Claus is coming to town. It's total old school 70s, but that's our pick.
Trish.
Well, it's Elf, but this year it was overtaken by A Recipe for Seduction, the Kentucky Fried Chicken Christmas.
Oh, yes. Did you drink every time they said chicken?
I did. That's why it's now my favorite.
Those are my
movie.
people. Those are my people.
And if anybody recognizes this prop, you'll know that
Oh, Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation. This is
Lovely.
Yeah.
cousin Eddie's his stepdaughters finally made it to do the tilt-a-whirl at the fairgrounds. And,
Nice.
his brother couldn't be more surprised if his head was sewed to the ground to see him for Christmas. All right, so we got another. That's my favorite. So I got favorite Christmas beverage or food, whichever. Food or beverage. Pick. Let's go food. Favorite Christmas food. Bess.
My favorite Christmas food is actually fudge that I make with my children.
All right, Kimmery.
Hot chocolate. I panicked.
That's hot chocolate is now a food. It's one of the 8 food groups.
It is a
hot
food.
chocolate. Okay.
That is the food.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Yeah, it's a food. Tracy.
I'm still a sucker for a pig in a blanket, and
Yeah. Trish.
My grandmother's peanut butter balls.
All right. So I mentioned this earlier. We have this thing called overnight French toast, which my wife makes. You actually do make it the night before. You put it in the refrigerator, take it out the next morning, drop it in the oven, and boom, it is kind of melts in your mouth. That and the Bloody Marys we do at lunchtime on Christmas Day. So
Oh,
Nice.
yes.
yeah,
Nice.
with all
nice.
the olives and all the good salty things that go with it. Okay, we did that. Let's do. Have we done your favorite? No, we have not done this. Your favorite Christmas present that you ever received. All right. Yes.
Okay, so I actually called my mother because I was like, oh, these things are coming to my mind and I don't think I got them for Christmas. And she's like, you didn't. I know this is supposed to be lightning round, but I'm just going to divert just very quickly to say the only present that I could remember getting as a child, and it was as a teen for Christmas, and it would not leave my brain, was a pair of Guess two-tone overalls that
Ooh.
okay, right? 1987.
Mhm.
And I remember my grandmother, when I got them, she was like, she thought it was a joke because they were two-tone acid wash overalls. And she was like, I mean, are you farming? What is, and so it was like the first time I sort of stepped out of my side of myself as a teen and was like, maybe all this pressure for all these, so anyway, sorry, that was, so I don't know. That's the most
Okay.
memorable Christmas gift.
All
I
right.
think it's a 2020 answer, and I'm gonna just stick with
So Camry, yours was hot chocolate, right?
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate.
So when I was 26, I was a general surgery intern on trauma call at the hospital on New Year's Eve, meaning I worked all day New Year's Eve, all night, all the next day. And so couldn't go home for Christmas. And I think at about 7 or 8 o'clock, there was kind of a lull. And my future husband rolls up to the hospital with one of those red and white checked tablecloth things and a picnic basket and some Chinese takeout, and gave me
Everybody is jealous of this guy right now. He's giving us a bad rap, but go ahead and finish your story here.
Well, that was the story. So he came to be with me on Christmas Eve at the hospital where nobody wants to be, and brought me some food, and I married him.
It works every
Aw.
time. That old show up at the hospital with a bag of food and wine. Hallmark will repeat that
That
every
old
year.
trick.
Yeah,
Yes.
that old trick. Yeah. Tracy, favorite?
Well, for me, I mean, hands down, there was a doll that I had to have when I was a little girl. Her name was Rosella. And I got curious about like if I could find a picture of her, and I hate that this picture doesn't do her justice because she looks sort of scary in the picture. But she was, her eyes were blue. Now this is very Mrs. Habersham looking, but she actually was quite beautiful, and her eyes were bright blue. She was the prettiest thing that I ever saw.
I
and
think
had to have her.
Stephen King had her as one of his characters in one of his books. Yeah.
She was amazing, and I kept her like for the longest time, and I loved her.
Horrifying, Tracy.
That's amazing. All right, Trish, favorite gift?
You know, I was thinking about the year we got Cabbage Patch dolls when my sister and I were little, and I'm 5 years older than her, and I guess I tortured her by turning her Cabbage Patch doll head around so it was just like the blank face. When she would come in, it was sitting on, it was the back of the head sitting there. But I remember wanting that. But then my sister, who I tortured apparently as a child, sent me truly the best Christmas gift this year. And what's amazing is that I got this exact same gift for my children this year, and we didn't know it. And it is a oil of my dog in a military uniform. How we both stumbled on the same stupid website and put my dog's pet in a Renaissance oil painting. I don't know, but
That's
she
amazing.
got it for me, and I got it for my kids. And
I love his
it's today.
expression.
I mean, Fletch, and everybody knows Fletch. He's my soulmate.
He is
And
regal.
He's just so regal.
The noble beast right
Okay.
there.
That's
He's a
awesome.
regal
Well,
beagle.
I'm going to transition
Yes.
this into the next question because it has to do, I sort of feel like the reprieve I got with this has turned out to be my greatest gift, because this is the question that relates to what was the best gift you ever gave to somebody else. And when I was in law school, third year, asked my wife to marry me. She wasn't my wife then. Didn't have to ask her twice. No, asked her to marry. And she said yes, despite what happened the Christmas just a month or so before. You know, she cooked a lot in law school. I would go over, we'd study together. She'd cook. I thought, not Kimmery, I needed lessons from your husband to be, because I thought, because she loved to cook, that a perfect gift for her that Christmas would be none other than a very nice crock pot. Now, all of y'all are probably looking, you're shaking your heads. You know, it's like, Landis, you idiot. And
No.
I
That-
heard that.
We love those.
Yeah, I heard that for 20 years. And 20 years later, they came out with this super duper fancy, I mean, this crock pot could probably fly. I mean, it had every gizmo on it. And so I decided for the 20th anniversary, I'd get her another one. But I conscripted my daughter, who was a teenager then, to go with me to find a pretty large diamond ring to make up for the little skinny one I bought when we got married, and
Wow.
hide it in the bottom of this crock pot. Now, you can imagine Christmas morning, we're opening all the gifts. She gets to the crock pot, she opens it, she sees the box. They got a picture of the damn thing on the outside. She doesn't need to open it. She can see the whole thing, right? And everybody's like, you should kind of check it out.
Take it out.
And everybody's like, I can see it. Let's go on. So after some urging and so forth, she looked at it. Okay, fine. Well, no, Mom, you need to kind of
No, pull it way
get your
out.
hand down in there, you know. And so finally, the crock pot redeemed itself 20 years later. So that was my.
Oh, that's sweet.
Did y'all give any gifts that you're proud of that you really enjoyed? Bess, turn around with you.
Well, my husband and I started giving trips to our kids as gifts, and that has ended up being a really great thing. And there was one particular Christmas where we drove down to Florida, and we had 3 stops in the as part of the gift. We were diving with the manatee. We were going to Walt Disney for one day, and we were watching the Tar Heels play. Sorry, Tracy, in a bowl game. And for that gift, I made like clues for a big scavenger hunt, and it was just a very festive thing that didn't open up to anything, but we have some great memories from that time.
That's awesome. Kimmery, you took your family to the hot chocolate factory, right?
We gave ourselves the best gift this year, our whole family. Let's see if I can show you.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
Charlie.
Yes,
Got a halo.
Charlie.
So we went to the shelter and found this perfect dog, and he has brought so much joy to our house already this year. So we got our Christmas gift early.
Yay, Charlie.
That's great.
Yes.
Tracy.
Well, hands down, the most favorite gift I ever gave. Well, first I had to break into somebody's house, so you know it's going to be good. I had a friend who had gone through a terrible breakup, and because of it, he hated Christmas. He boycotted Christmas, and he had zero Christmas spirit. So I arranged to break into his home, and I put up a giant Christmas tree with lights and ornaments for when he came home that night, and he loved it. And I mean, now it's 16 years later, he still talks about it today. And I single-handedly saved his Christmas spirit for all time.
That's awesome. You need to write a story about that one.
Yeah. That's good.
Trish.
You know, this one stumps me. I don't know. I don't know. I love to give gifts, but I feel like I love giving just stupid little, like, I heard you say you wanted this, and then I remember to get it and give it. I don't feel like I've ever done anything all that huge, but I do know I love giving gifts. So
Trish is a great gift giver. They're very, because I've gotten a lot of gifts from her for my birthday and Christmas. They're all very personalized. They're very central to what you're thinking in that moment. You're a tremendous giver.
Well, y'all are sweet. Thank you. That's what I wanted you to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe this that I gave my kids.
Yes.
That replica of this is the best gift I ever.
Don't ever give me that. Don't ever give me that. I don't like
I'll
that.
take that.
No,
Okay.
that's creepy and it scares me.
Don't ever give your kids a gift of a book for Christmas. They'll think you gave them socks, which is what happened with the first book I wrote as a Christmas gift for my family. But they got over it. But picking up on that theme, we have given the gift of travel to our children coming along, and the kids still talk about, and they were probably in college at the time, the best Christmas we ever had was when we went to St. Kitts. We were there over Christmas, and on Christmas morning we get up and we get on a catamaran and we go snorkeling, and we were drinking, mixed drinks in the morning, rum punches on Christmas Day, snorkeling. And to them, that was just the family being together was everything. So family big. Okay. So now we're going to finish up here with a couple more readings. And this is the urgency of the holiday series we got here. We're starting with Kimmery, and she's got a little piece here. I think it's a little holiday humor. You wrote it in the context, Kimmery, I think of sort of what the holidays can do to the writing life and where you're trying to write and what's going on. Any other setup you want to do before you read this for us?
Well, at the time I wrote it, I was writing a weekly column on writing. So this was my assignment, was writing through Christmas distraction. And I'm not a very concise writer, so I had to cut out most of the words to fit in the 1 to 2 minute time limit. So most of the words are gone. I just want you to know that up front. Okay. Today's topic is Writing Through Christmas Distraction 2020 edition, which I feel eminently qualified to discuss because, my God, it is freakishly cold in here. I think my hand just fell off. The key to writing through the inevitable maelstrom of carnage that will occur just as your writing assignment is due is holy smoke. Britney Spears just picked up my book and a picture on Instagram.
True story.
Writing group to discuss.
That's true. That's true.
When distractions occur, do not bite. How many times have I said that biting is not an acceptable means of resolving disputes, even if you did bite your gingerbread house? Oh, she bit you first. Okay, fine, bite back. Now, back to distraction article. We'll commence as soon as I investigate horrible noise. Turns out my youngest child has simultaneously activated all Alexas in the house to play Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer at top volume. Mental note, find out how she does that and disable that feature. Oh my God. Forgot to move the elves again.
Call Trish. Call Trish.
Must convince the children that the elves have COVID and cannot relocate for 7 to 10 days because I have already told them the elves are drunk. I cannot do. Yippee, doorbell. My big stack of Christmas books I ordered for myself. Be right back. Dang, was irate neighbor who is saying that all his Alexas are simultaneously playing How I Got Run Over by a Reindeer and wants to know how the children are doing this. Just going to check Twitter for a sec. Be right back. Twitter says the upside of COVID is all holiday office parties are canceled. Checked email. Virtual holiday office party tonight with festive clothing required. I think I will wear my Christmas pajamas, or at least the top. And since no one can see, I will wear my underwear with a reindeer nose on the butt. What could possibly go wrong?
Hey, we're wearing our Joes here. See?
Wow.
They're long pants, by the way. It's not.
Yeah.
Literally.
You didn't tell us that before you stood up. We were
Yeah,
like,
it's not boxers. It's long pants. It's long pants. Yeah. It's what we call Joes, anyway. But very well done. I like the grandma got run over by a reindeer on all the Alexas. It reminds
Amazing.
me of the most famous country music love song ever written, and it starts out, "I got drunk the day my mama got out of prison, and I went to pick her up in the rain." Anyway, that's the start of the love song. Most famous.
Wow.
All right, so now that's well done. Bess, you've got in part of this urgency of the holiday series, you've got an urgency of a different kind in your writing. So
Yes.
this little blog post you did about holiday gatherings and the need to go, right?
The
Not
need to
the
go.
gathering,
And
not to the gathering, but the
yes,
need to go.
yes. And before I begin, I would like to point out that there are a lot of things that, as we've discussed, that we missed this year. There are some things that we don't. And on that note, I would like to dedicate this reading to my Spanx that's in the drawer where it's hibernating for the whole holiday season. Okay. There was once a time when I might enjoy a bit too much eggnog at a holiday party, grab my better half's hand, and sneak giggling away into the guest bathroom to steal a little smooch. So caught up in the seasonal spirit, so young, and so in love that while I may be able to restrain from PDA, I cannot contain my enthusiasm for a little covert Christmas kiss. Times have changed, or rather, I have changed. This is shocking to report, but over the years, with time passing against all that I've done to prevent it from happening, I have grown old. The eyes, the thighs, the creaks and cracks. Lord, it is overwhelming sometimes. Exhibit A. At our most recent holiday party, I see my handsome husband from across the room. I would grab his hand and go for that stolen kiss. It does cross my mind, except I really have to go. If I don't get to the bathroom soon, there's going to be a huge problem. Post kids, the bladder just ain't what it used to be. Case in point. So I take it on a slow jog. Bad idea. I take it on a fast walk down the hall to the bathroom, and thankfully it's free. So I try to undress to the extent that I need to, but there's a problem. I mean, there's a lot going on with this outfit. And by a lot, I don't mean Christmas sparkles or jewels or sexy skin showing. No, it was like going through 4 layers to get to where I could take care of business. And maybe it was that glass of celebratory bubbly going to my head. But damn if I couldn't get my dressy self dressed again on the back end. I was tugging on Spanx, pulling up tights, adjusting underwear, holding the hem of my slip with my teeth, for God's sake. All the while, barely balancing on the high heels of my dressy boots, hoping I didn't come crashing down into the John once and for all. And then there's the knock on the door and that startling feeling of panic. Is it locked? I did lock it, right? I'm mortified to think that someone may open the door to this partially naked, slipping, spanking scene and pass out with horror. Just a minute, I screech, too loudly, too cheerfully. Goodness knows what they think I'm doing in here. Deep breath. Underwear, Spanx, tights, slip, dress, breathe again. Leave bathroom disaster and head across room to husband, still handsome. Smile grateful when he reaches for my hand and holds it lightly while talking to friends. I feel like I've run a marathon. Who knew the holidays could be so exhausting? Well, really, I take that back. We all know that. But one calm and bright spot ahead to look forward to. For sure, after that workout, I'll soon be sleeping hard. Finally, amidst Christmas and its sometimes arduous accessories, some heavenly peace. Woo!
That's awesome.
See ya, Spanx. 2020.
Just in time. All right, so we got we're gonna have a little reading here. Twas the Night Before Christmas, performed by all of us in just a moment. But before we do that, I'm gonna read a little something from one of my Christmas books. So I'm actually gonna read from the third book because it was one of my characters, female character. She was very, very. I got kind of lectured after my first book. I didn't have enough female characters in here, and my daughter, who looked at my second book, said, "Dad, you know, all the characters don't have to be male. In fact, even some of the evildoers you've got in there can be women. They can be bitches too, you know." So,
Yeah.
Wow.
Totally.
and so, you know, I made the appraiser a woman. I made somebody else a woman. I made the couple of elf women. But anyway, so in the third book, there's this character called Tarina Winter. In the third book, what you find out is after Thad Raker, the lawyer who saved Christmas twice, it's 11 years later, and his daughter's grown up. She's 21, and he faces the greatest threat to Christmas yet. He finds out that the North Pole's melting. He finds out that there's a conspiracy that involves the White House. He finds out that the evildoer in the first two books, Hank Snow, is the same guy who tried to frustrate the Christmas trials in the first two books. He is wreaking havoc in the third book, but he's got a backstory. That's why we call it the Christmas Redemption. He turns out to be something different. But there's a character in here named Tarina Winter. She runs a toy company called Tip Top Toy Company, and she's being deposed early in the book. And she's being deposed by this lawyer named Robert Greenback. You know, he's one of those plaintiff lawyers who's just about after the money. And they're at a scene, and Thad Raker's representing her, and he's representing her in the class action lawsuit involving the reindeer hoverboard, the most famous present in 50 years. And so
I love this book, by the way. I just have to say, I've read it. I've actually read it. It's like really good.
And so she's getting grilled, and she's a very poised individual, and she's doesn't really care much about these human beings, particularly lawyers who aren't necessarily human beings. And so we start the reading here. "Fine," Greenback said. "Miss Winter, was your partner involved in overseeing the manufacture of the computer chip?" "No." "You're not going to tell me his name?" "No, and it's not a he. Honestly, what makes men think that two women can't run a successful business?" Greenback didn't apologize. "Let's focus on the business itself. Headquarters? Greenland. Manufacturing plants? US, UK, Italy, and Argentina. Where is the computer chip made? Greenland. Who designed it? You're looking at her." "Now we're getting somewhere," Greenback said. Tarina Winter brushed some lint from her sweater. "It took you long enough." Greenback leaned back. "Are you always this difficult?" "Not always, but when my time is taken up by men like you spend their time blaming others for a chance to get a large fee, then yes, I can prove to be difficult." "Are you saying your company is not at fault for the failure of the hoverboard to fly?" "Yes." "Can you prove it?" "And Mr. Greenback, I watched enough courtroom television to know that the proving part belongs to you. My, you're an arrogant woman. Aren't we a match?" "Fine," Greenback said. "We'll do this slowly, one fingernail at a time. The reindeer hoverboard failed to fly for 75% of the adults who bought it, correct?" "That's true, for those 75%. "And whose fault was it?" "Theirs." I don't understand." "Well, I didn't expect you would." Greenback eyed Tarina Winter with jaw-clamped contempt. "Why was it their fault?" "They did not heed the warning label." Greenback took out a document marked as Exhibit 1 and laid it in front of the witness. "This is the warning label. Would you mind reading it into the record?" "Well, not at all." Winter took off her glasses, placed them on her nose, and tucked the stems over her ears. Then she read, "Warning, this product only works for true believers." How did my clients ignore the warning label?" Greenback asked. "Come now, Mr. Greenback, you can figure this out." He picked up the exhibit, looked closely at the warning label. "What exactly is a true believer?" "Ah, that's the best question you've asked today." She turned to Thad Raker, her lawyer. "Mr. Raker, would you like to tell him?" Greenback was impatient. What's she talking about?" Raker swallowed a smile and looked Greenback in the eye. "A true believer is an adult who believes in Santa Claus." Silence. "Is this some kind of joke?" "I'm not joking," Raker said. Greenback turned to look at Tarina Winter. "Are you telling me that this case has something to do with whether my clients believe in Santa Claus. Tarina Winter sat up straight, brushed another strand of silver gray hair away from her left eye. Welcome to my world, Mr. Greenback. So that sets the
Very
stage.
good.
Yay!
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Very good.
Am I right? Like TV,
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
Completely.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So we're coming to part of the show. First of all, I want to plug independent bookstores, Park Row Books, Main Street Books, Bookmarks in Winston. We got all over the state. They are sort of the lifeblood of the industry here. Of course, there's the big A out there. Every author has their book there too. But without independent bookstores like those, we couldn't do what we do. And I think they're very important. Charlotte Mecklenburg Library too. I want to have a shout out to them. They support the show, sponsor it, and they are a big supporter in our community. Readers, leaders, learners. They've got 25 branches here in the Mecklenburg area. And so check them out as well. Now, ladies, elves, whatever we're going to call ourselves, we're to the part of the show where it's a tradition in our family. I mentioned this earlier that before Christmas Eve, or on Christmas Eve, one of our children reads "Twas the Night Before Christmas," and he breaks out laughing every time he gets to that part. It's each little hoof on the roof. He can't contain it. He talks about hoof and roof rhyming. He can't get through it without a little bit of humor. But before we read this as our closing, I want to thank all of y'all for participating tonight. It's been a pleasure having the Writing Group Inc. on and helping me celebrate the holidays. It's kind of a blessing in disguise that I've learned how to use Zoom this year, and we've all learned a new technology. How many of us as writers necessarily would have taken the time to learn some of this technology had it not been thrust upon us? And now when we go back out there, we've got more ways to communicate. And so it's been fun. I couldn't have done this without COVID-19. So there you go. Something to be thankful.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing for the writing group? Because one thing that we do like to do is to help other writers. And between the four of us, we've all done different forms of writing between blogging, self-publishing, hybrid publishing, and traditional publishing. And we hope that people will reach out to us and use us as a resource. And we encourage people who are writing in the community to get together and find their people. And if we can do it, you guys can do it. And we just encourage, everybody knows they have a book in them. And we just encourage people to write your book, write your truth, write your story, write whatever's in your imagination, and just keep writing.
That's great. I appreciate that. And you can find them at their collective site is, I think it's writinggroupinc.com. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Somebody know that? Okay.
That's right.
Trish would know.
Tracy doesn't even know her own website.
Something with writing though.
Yeah. And also without the www, let's go around and give me a website. Kimmery, yours just KimmeryMartin.com. Is that what it is? Okay.
KimmeryMartin.com.
Okay. And TracyCurtis.com. Is that right?
TracyLeeCurtis.com.
TracyLeeCurtis.com. Trish?
I have 15, so we're just
15 websites.
I'll put it up on Facebook when I want you to.
Bess?
Just message me and I'll put you in touch with Trish.
And Bess, yours is?
For more information about the book, it's BessKercher.com, and my other writings are at maymucho.com.
All right, great. And everybody knows CharlotteReadersPodcast.com. And I actually updated the Landis Wade website from the kid version to the adult version. It's now done by a professional, not by a lawyer who makes it look like a kid do it. So it's landiswade.com. And we've got the audiobooks out now. Bill A. Jones, an actor from LA, did the audiobooks. Fun guy. He was on Glee. He played Rod Remington, kind of a fun character. He really brings it to life. So a lot of fun there. Okay, so Twas the Night Before Christmas is what we're going to do here. But a little known fact about this story, there is obviously the lawyers have to get involved, right? There's a dispute about who wrote this famous poem, and it's often attributed to Clement Clark Moore, but also Henry Livingston Jr. And it was first published in December of 1823, which is why we have no problem reading it, because it's way past copyright problems. So it was in the Troy Sentinel newspaper in upstate New York. It was also referred to as A Visit from St. Nicholas or The Night Before Christmas. And one of the reasons that the controversy has it tilting toward this other writer instead of Clement Moore is because one of the original descriptions of the reindeer included these two reindeer, which you probably never heard of, Dunder and Bliksem, which is Dutch. And the other writer, Dutch. Dunder and Bliksem, the Dutch words mean thunder and lightning, as rendered in the English text. And
You're forgetting Olive.
Olive.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not,
Yeah.
He's not going to stop with Olive now.
Olive,
That
the
was
other
new.
reindeer. Yeah.
54 years old. First time I ever heard that.
So there's no Dunder, no Bliksem in here, but you'll see the reindeer when you see them. We are not reading the version of "Twas the Night Before Christmas" that has Olive in it, because this is the 1823 version, and Olive wasn't added until after Rudolph. And so anyway, we got that covered. All right. So to wrap this up today, we're going to do a little group reading here of "Twas the Night Before Christmas." And everybody knows their parts. So everybody's got it in front of them. We're going to go around, and I'm going to start it out. Here we go. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house. It actually says that. When all through the
You
house.
okay?
I'm reading
him
it
off.
right, the 1823 version. Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. Sorry, had to.
The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads.
And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap.
When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter.
Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash.
The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below.
When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer.
With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick.
More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name.
Now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Dunder and Bliksem and Olive and Rudolph.
Thank you for acknowledging her. Top of the porch to the top of the wall. Now dash away, all.
As dry leaves before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky.
So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too.
And then in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof.
Hoof, hoof.
Hoof, each little hoof.
As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound.
He was dressed in all fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot.
A bundle of toys was slung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack.
His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry.
His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow.
The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke encircled his head like a wreath.
He had a broad face and a round little belly. Oh my God, can I relate? That shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. I can relate during COVID.
He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself.
A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread.
He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk.
All right, here's the one line. And laying his finger aside of his nose.
And giving a nod up the chimney, he rose.
He sprung to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle.
And away they all flew like the down of a thistle.
But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight.
Happy
Happy Christmas to
all.
all.
And to
all good night.
Woo!
All right. Take the picture.
Please.
Let's-
On that last one.
You should have practiced that. That was terrible.
That was bad.
Well, yeah, we won't win any Emmys or Grammys or whatever you get from reading Twas the Night Before Christmas on Facebook, Zoom, Live, whatever. But look, I want to thank all of y'all for joining me tonight. This has been a lot of fun. Bess, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me, Landis. And
Yeah,
so nice to be with the group.
yeah,
It's
Kimmery, thanks
wonderful.
for being here. Yeah, Tracy, thanks.
Happy to be here.
And Trish, good to meet you. Yeah. And-
Nice to meet you
I'm
too.
so glad you
All
got
right.
to meet Trish.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we're going to go into 2021 with a positive attitude. Viewers out there, the podcast, we got lots more good stuff coming. Check us out at charlottespodcast.com. You'll see Bess in the new year. You can look back and check out Kimmery and Tracy's episode. Who knows, maybe in the future they'll come on and be a guest host. And Trish, when you get that thing stapled together into a
I'll
book,
let you know.
you know, call me and we'll get you on the podcast. But it's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed connecting readers and writers and building this thing called the podcast. We had around 12,000 downloads at the end of 2019, and at the end of 2020 we got 40,000 downloads. So we tripled our engagement, and that's not even including the authors on the air downloads. So thanks for everybody who's tuning in and listening. And one more thing I will say is, and I'll put you all on the spot here too, because we're going to start on the Charlotte's Podcast website a community blog in 2021 where authors can drop some little post in of goodness about their writing lives, writing craft, book recommendations, whatever. So if you're blogging anyway, authors, you don't have to be an author on our show, but if you've been an author on our show, you can do it. We're going to have a little submit page. You can submit your blog post and your little bio and your photo. We'll put it up. We'll get some engagement going. It'll just be another way that we can get the authors and the readers, engaging in the community, and y'all can share it on your pages, our pages, and it'll be fun. So can I get, y'all are writing so much, y'all going to contribute to this blog, right? Okay. Just raise your hands. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Landis.
Absolutely.
Sure.
We're happy to.
We're
Absolutely.
in.
Yeah, you can even take something you've already written and we'll repurpose it. That'd be fun too. But it'll be a fun way. We're going to have this community. We're going to call it Community Voices. There'll be a community blog, and we're going to have a community vlog. And the vlog is going to be things like this that I do, where I'll put this up on the vlog page. And we're going to encourage bookstores and libraries to do little 3 to 5 minute videos in the store, in the library, recommending books, and put that up on the vlog. So that's all that's coming along with our book report newsletter. So sign up for that. If you hadn't signed up, you'll get all this stuff. And hey, it's going to be a fun year. So thanks everybody for participating. I'm going to hit the end button in just a second, but Merry Christmas to
Merry
all.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Merry
All-
Christmas.
And to all a good night. Thank you all.
Yes.
It's a good one. All right. See you. Bye.
Good
Bye,
night.
guys.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye.
New Year.